You've been asking God to send you the right person. You've been crying out, God, where is my partner? Where is my spouse? And God is saying, I hear you, but I'm more concerned about preparing you than pairing you, because God will not bring the right person into the life of someone who hasn't stepped into the right purpose yet. Let me tell you something that might hurt a little, but it will heal even more. If you're waiting on the right person to make you feel complete, you're putting pressure on a human that only heaven can carry. No relationship, no matter how romantic, attractive, or exciting, can compensate for a lack of purpose. You don't need a partner to make you whole. You need purpose to make you ready. Go back to the garden. Go back to Genesis. Before Eve ever showed up, Adam had an assignment. He had a garden, he had a job, he had a relationship with God. God didn't say it is not good for man to be alone until Adam was already in motion. Hear me, God didn't make Adam and Eve at the same time. He made purpose before he made the person. That means if you're still waiting, it's not because God forgot, it's because God is faithful. It's because he's more committed to your future than your feelings. He won't let you skip the assignment and jump into attachment. Because a partner that's not aligned with your purpose will pull you out of position, and you'll call it love when it's really distraction. See, God will often hide the person until you're walking in the purpose. You're not meant to find your identity in them. You're meant to find your identity in him. And when you do, the person God brings won't compete with your calling, they'll complement it. The right partner will not pull you away from God's presence. They'll push you deeper into it. You don't need a perfect relationship. You need a purpose-filled one. Stop chasing someone who looks the part but can't walk the path. Because good looks won't carry a heavy calling. Attraction might get you started, but only alignment will sustain you. Some of you are frustrated because it feels like God is silent, but his silence is strategic. His silence is saying, I want you to get this first. I want you to understand that your worth is not in who walks with you, it's in who called you. Purpose doesn't start when they show up. Purpose starts when you show up. When you show up in obedience, when you show up in discipline, when you show up for your own healing, for your own growth, for your own identity. When you say, God, whether I'm single, dating, or waiting, I want to be faithful to this season. And let me just say this, if you're too busy searching for a person, you might miss the path. Because the enemy would love to get you so obsessed with finding the one that you forget to become the one God created you to be. You've been praying for someone to walk beside you, but God is saying, first, I want you to walk with me. Because when you walk with him, he will lead you to someone who's walking in the same direction. That's when real partnership begins. Not when two people fall in love, but when two people fall into purpose together. That's why purpose before person isn't just a catchy phrase, it's a kingdom principle. It means you trust that God's timing is not just about when, it's about why. He won't send someone into your life just to fill a void. He'll send them to multiply the mission. So if you're still single, still waiting, still wondering when it will happen, don't despise this moment. Don't waste this season, because your single season is not a sentence, it's a setup. And the sooner you say yes to God's purpose, the clearer your path to the right person will become. God is not delaying your relationship, he's developing your purpose. And when the purpose is ready, person will appear, not to complete you, not to rescue you, but to run with you. Let God write the story. Because when you trust him with the purpose, he'll take care of the person. We keep asking God for alignment, but we don't want to talk about preparation. We want the blessing, but we don't want the burden that builds the blessing. We want someone to walk into our lives already whole, already healed, already mature. But are we doing the work to be that for someone else? Listen, God is not sending a miracle into a mess you refuse to clean up. That might sound strong, but it's real. We ask God to send us someone faithful, someone focused, someone who prays and walks with integrity, but are we preparing to be that same kind of partner? The truth is, preparation attracts alignment, not perfection. Don't hear what I'm not saying. It's not about having everything together. It's about your willingness to grow, your posture to learn, and your discipline to walk in purpose now. Because God doesn't pair you based on your preferences. He pairs you based on your preparation. The kind of person you're praying for might be praying for someone like you, but would they recognize you if you're still acting like the old version of yourself? Come on, you want a king, but you're still acting like a victim. You want a Proverbs 31 woman, but you're still stuck in a mindset that resents accountability and avoids responsibility. Now, I'm not saying you have to have it all figured out, but I am saying God won't align you with someone who's running if you're still sitting in circles of confusion. Alignment is about direction. It's about motion. God brings people into your life who match your momentum. Think about Ruth. Ruth wasn't sitting around crying about the past. She wasn't scrolling through heartbreak. She was in the field. She was faithful. She was melting. And Boaz didn't find her because she posted the perfect selfie. He found her in the harvest because she was prepared to be where purpose met provision. You don't have to manipulate your way into the right relationship. You don't have to scheme, compete, or compromise. You just have to be ready. Because when preparation meets purpose, God steps in with alignment, and suddenly what felt delayed now feels divinely timed. Let me tell you something. God does not respond to desperation. He responds to preparation. He doesn't bless panic. He blesses obedience. Some of you are praying, God, I'm tired of waiting. But God is saying, I'm not waiting. I'm working, and I'm working on you. So the question isn't, where is the right person? The question is, am I becoming the right partner for what I'm praying for? Don't ask God to send someone who's healed if you're not willing to deal with your own wounds. Don't ask for loyalty when you haven't learned how to commit to yourself, to your process, to your purpose. That's not alignment, that's expectation without preparation. There are some things God will only release into your life when you prove you're ready to carry them. Because the weight of a God-ordained relationship isn't light. It comes with spiritual responsibility. It's not just about compatibility, it's about capacity. And capacity is expanded in private in the preparation season. Some of you are frustrated because you feel overlooked. You see other people getting into relationships, getting married, posting pictures, and you're wondering if God skipped your turn. But maybe he didn't skip your turn. Maybe he's just making sure you don't settle for something beneath your calling. Because here's the thing, when you're prepared, you stop settling. You stop chasing attention and start building intention. You stop performing for love and start walking in purpose. And when you walk in purpose, the right person will recognize you not because of what you look like, but because of what you carry. Don't lose hope in the waiting. Don't let comparison talk you out of your process. God isn't slow, he's strategic. He's not just preparing someone for you, he's preparing you for them. And when the preparation is real, the alignment is undeniable. So today, don't just pray for a partner, pray for discipline, pray for vision, pray for the courage to stay faithful in your field, even when no one sees you, because God sees you. And he's not ignoring your desires, he's building your character to sustain them. Stay faithful, stay focused. Preparation is not punishment. It's positioning, and when the time is right, preparation will attract the alignment you've been praying for. Not because you chased it, but because you were ready. We live in a world that's obsessed with chemistry. We hear people say things like, we just clicked, or the vibe was right, as though that's the defining factor for a relationship. And don't get me wrong, chemistry has its place. It's important to feel a connection. But if chemistry is all you're going on, you're setting yourself up for a serious fall. Because while chemistry might spark a relationship, it's character that keeps it from burning out. We look at the surface, the smiles, the dates, the attraction, but how much time have we spent looking at character, at integrity, at the depth of their commitment to God and to their purpose? When God pairs people together, it's not just about whether you like each other, it's about whether your characters align with the calling He's placed on your lives. Compatibility doesn't just come from shared interests, it comes from shared values, shared vision, and shared commitment to God's plan. That's the real alignment. You see, chemistry will fade, the excitement will wear off, but character is consistent. It doesn't change based on emotions or circumstances. Character is what gets you through the tough times. It's what determines whether your relationship is going to make it through seasons of drought, hardship, and challenge. And that's why character has to come before compatibility. You can have all the attraction in the world, but if you don't have character, you don't have the foundation for anything long-lasting. I want to challenge you today. Stop looking for someone to complete you. Look for someone who complements you. Completeness is an internal work God is doing in you. No person will ever be able to fill the void that only God can fill. You need someone whose character reflects the work God is doing in them. Someone who has learned to surrender their selfishness, their impulses, and their own desires for the greater purpose of God's kingdom. Look at Proverbs 31. It doesn't describe the perfect woman based on her appearance or her talents. It describes her based on her character, her strength, her wisdom, her ability to lead, and her integrity. And the Bible doesn't just tell you this is a woman to admire. It says that a man who finds someone with this character finds a good thing. But notice it doesn't just say good looks or good chemistry. It says good thing, because a woman or a man of character is priceless. If you want to be aligned with someone, look beyond the surface. Ask yourself, how do they handle conflict? How do they treat people who can't do anything for them? How do they respond when things aren't going their way? Because it's in the little things, how they treat wait staff, how they speak about others when they're not around. That character shows up. And it's not just about looking for the perfect person. It's about looking for someone who has the willingness to grow, to be molded, and to change. No one is perfect, but there's a difference between imperfection and a lack of commitment to growth. The right partner is someone who acknowledges their weaknesses and is committed to becoming more like Christ. Character isn't about being perfect, it's about being willing to improve. Think about the Apostle Paul and his letters to the early church. He didn't just give them a list of do's and don'ts. He challenged their hearts. He encouraged them to grow in love, in patience, in kindness. And if you want to know if you're compatible with someone long term, you need to ask, are they growing in the same direction? Are they growing in godliness? Because that's what's going to keep your relationship from getting off track when the world around you is shaking. So, what happens when two people with solid, Christ-centered character come together? They begin to complement each other in ways that make them stronger. The weaknesses in one are covered by the strengths of the other. Where one person falls short, the other person can step in and offer support, encouragement, and love. Together, they create a partnership that moves forward in purpose. But here's the thing, you can't attract someone who is committed to godly character if you're not actively working on your own. If you're not growing, if you're not committed to becoming the person God has called you to be, you won't attract the right partner. God will often match you with someone who mirrors where you're at in your spiritual walk. So if you want to see your relationship grow, you've got to grow yourself first. Attraction fades, chemistry can be broken, but character is the glue that holds things together. When both people are growing in their character, they're building something that can stand the test of time. That's where real compatibility is found, not in a shared love of the same TV show or the same hobbies, but in a shared commitment to becoming more like Christ and following his call together. So stop looking for someone who makes your heart race. Start looking for someone who challenges you to grow, who encourages you to step into God's calling, and who's committed to loving you with the same love that Christ shows us. Real compatibility comes from the foundation of character, and that's what makes relationships last. When your time will come, but God's delay is not his denial. Just because it's delayed doesn't mean it's not divinely timed. What you see as a setback, God is using as a setup. You see, there's a reason why God doesn't rush things. It's because he's not just preparing the blessing, he's preparing you to carry the blessing. There is a work he's doing inside of you in this waiting season that will equip you to handle the relationship, the responsibility, and the purpose that he has for you. But if you rush ahead, you might miss what he's trying to teach you in the process. Think about David. Before he ever became king, he spent years out in the field watching sheep, fighting lions and bears, learning to trust God in the hidden places. And when the time came, when Samuel showed up to anoint him as king, it wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't random. It was God's perfect timing. But if David hadn't been faithful in the field, he wouldn't have been ready for the palace. See, God's timing isn't about waiting for the perfect moment to give you something good. It's about making sure that when the time comes, you're spiritually, emotionally, and mentally prepared to walk into it and not ruin it. God is not a God of rush. He's a God of preparation. And the waiting period isn't a punishment. It's the season of growth, of training, and of refinement. Many of us think we're ready for a relationship when in reality, we're just ready for the feeling of a relationship. We want the companionship, the attention, the affirmation, but we're not necessarily prepared to steward the responsibility that comes with it. Relationships are not just about romance. They're about building something with someone, growing together and carrying the weight of each other's burdens, and that requires strength, but you won't get that strength without training. You don't become a marathon runner by sitting on the couch and wishing you could run. You train, you push yourself, you condition your mind and your body to endure the race. Relationships work the same way. God is not going to put you in a relationship until you're ready to endure the long-term race of marriage or partnership. You're not just waiting on a partner, you're waiting on the training that will prepare you to love well, to serve well, to sacrifice well. There are areas in your heart, in your character, in your thinking that need to be shaped and refined before you can walk into the relationship God has for you. And those areas are being worked on in this season of waiting. When we talk about waiting, we often think of it as passive. But that's not what biblical waiting is. Waiting is active. It's a season of preparation. It's a time for building your relationship with God, growing in your spiritual maturity, and working on becoming the person you're praying to be with. You can't expect God to bring someone into your life who's going to help you become who he's called you to be if you're not already working on becoming that person yourself. This is why it's so important to understand that timing isn't just about when, it's about why. Why has God allowed you to be single right now? Why has he allowed you to be in a season of waiting? It's because there are things he's doing in you. There's a strength he's building in you. There are lessons he's teaching you in this season that will prepare you for the future you stepping into. And if you skip over this process, if you rush ahead, you'll miss out on what God is trying to show you. God's timing isn't just about when the relationship comes, it's about when you're ready for it. And that readiness doesn't come from wishful thinking. It comes from training. It comes from learning how to be content in the season you're in, learning how to be whole in God before he brings someone into your life to walk with you. You see, God's training ground for your future relationship isn't just about romantic lessons. It's about life lessons. It's about learning to trust God with the desires of your heart. It's about learning patience. It's about understanding that your timing is not always God's timing. And when you can submit to his timing, when you can trust his process, you open the door for his best to come at just the right moment. You may feel like it's taking forever, but I promise you the timing will be worth it. When you're ready, when you've been trained and shaped and